All right, welcome back to T3, that Thursday night thing. I'm your host, Mr. U. Herb is in the house. Shane Ratliff is also in the house, and our guy from Alabama, Pittsburgh, Chicago, everywhere.
All the places.
Mid's in the house. Shots from the side. What's up, Mid?
Not a much, man. Just call me Mr. Worldwide with all that back behind.
Mr. Worldwide. Okay, I like that. Change your little tagline down there. Mr. Worldwide. I like it. All right, man. We're going to have some fun. We'll talk a little bit about NFL news and notes. We got a little bit of those. I guess you got the question about my team because I don't know how to answer this question, so I need you guys' help. And we'll talk a little bit of Super Bowl because that's going to be happening on Sunday. Find out what kind of snacks you guys got, score predictions, things like that, where you're watching the game at, and a little NFL draft round out the evening. So before we get into all that stuff, man, how you guys doing? Just basically, you're having a good day? You good? Should I be aware of anything that could inhibit the show from being awesome tonight? Is there anything going on I need to know about? We good?
Well, the fact that the three of you guys are on here ensures that the show will be awesome. I'm just trying to raise my level to match the three of you guys.
Oh, come on, Herb.
That'd be awesome if you really believe that.
I do believe it.
That would be awesome, but I know that you. Okay, you've been
Dude,
to the table.
you're like the cherry on top of this Sunday.
I mean, every single, and we can go back and listen to this. Every single week, Shane says, "I agree with Herb." You can't do that with somebody.
That's all he been.
So that means something. We says, "I agree with Herb." So that means he said it 9 times the show. So you have to be relevant to the show.
From where I sit, I could look down and I can see Shane's notes, and that's why I always try to go first because I read his off, and then he has to agree with me. Boom.
We have to fix this Hollywood Square thing. This is admitted that and see if we can try to switch this thing up. All right. So we got a few news and notes. You guys know that in the NFL, a few guys are trying to get traded, or they're about to get traded. Well, it's a few, but I can confirm 2 of them: Myles Garrett from the Browns and Cooper Kupp from the Rams, who apparently went on record saying he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay there and finish his career, but they said, "You out of here." So they're gonna eat some money to send him out of there. What do you think each of these guys would make their best, based on the guys that they're talking about? They can play with, or they should be a best trade partner for? Where do you think Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp should be to maximize the rest of their career? What's the best spot for each one of them? Whoever wants to go first.
Well, I feel like Myles Garrett could go to any contender and be fine. So
any contender.
I don't even know.
So only a contender. Only a contender.
You don't want to get. I mean, I'm assuming you're not getting traded just because you want a better contract. I'm assuming you want to get traded because you want to win. So I would pick almost any one of the contenders and say, like, come get me. You know, I wouldn't be that picky, but I think that opens you up to at least 6 or 7. So, and Wynn took my Cup one. I don't know if we're talking about that one yet. I don't know if that's the best fit for him, but I thought that Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh was linked to every wide receiver. So I thought that he would definitely. I thought he'd be on their radar, but.
We got to figure out whether they're going to trade Pickens or not, because they're being advised to do so by even some of their Hall of Famers. I don't know whether they're going to actually do it or not. You know how I feel about him? The whole downfield blocking, kind of quitting in the middle of the game. In Pittsburgh, that doesn't fly very well. That's a very strong franchise. So that kind of stuff really can't be allowed. And Mike Tomlin should really want to have that guy out of there. However, actually been to his barbecue and maybe he knows his kids, maybe he want to get rid of him. I don't know, but we'll figure out. All right, Matt or Shane, which one of you guys got it up? Jared? Yeah, go Shane.
I mean, as much as you've already hit on it, I agree with Herb on this. I think Myles Garrett, any of the top spots. If I'm Detroit, I'm asking exactly what they want. Yep. If I'm any of the top spots where I think I have a chance, Myles Garrett is a game changer. I mean, he had 14 and a half sacks on a terrible team where they've game planned around him. He shows strength, great ability to get after the ball. I think for the Rams, I think they've decided that Cooper Kupp is never going to come back healthy. And the problem with that being, if he does, he's really going to help that next team, because he's made it clear that he had no interest in leaving the Rams. He's shown that he was fine even going to be like the number 2 behind Puka now, knowing that he hasn't been healthy the last couple of years. But I mean, if he's already got a Super Bowl, I hate to be a homer on this, but if I'm the Patriots or a team like that needs some development and needs a leader, I would go after Cooper Kupp in a heartbeat. He's going to give you a talented wide receiver if he's healthy, great leadership, and a mentality to do what you need to do. He's going to block. He's going to do whatever's asked of him. He comes in, he works, he helps the quarterbacks out. He's the shining star, I think, for the Rams, and I think this is a move that they're going to regret, especially the way that it played out.
I think so too. I think it's probably there's rumors that it could have in the reverse. That Kupp will go back with his friend Jared Goff. I think they're really good friends. So Detroit might try to grab him instead, and Garrett might end up in a place like New England. But we'll see how it goes. Med, have you heard the answer that that's not the one you have?
No, I got you, bro. So as far as Myles Garrett goes, I actually posted a question on X the other day where, I could see him going to a contender. He's 29 years old, so he's about to enter the true prime, or you could say he's in the middle of the prime of his career right now. I like the Detroit pick. I do like that. Have him with Hutch and Zadarius Smith coming off to spell him out every now and again. You're talking problems for offensive coordinators. But I also liked him going to the Bills because all they need is a persistent pass rush on the outside. Go ahead, get rid of Von Miller, bring in Myles Garrett. You could also look at him going, yeah, done. You want me to just stop there?
No, he's been trying to get rid of Von Miller for weeks, so he's definitely
goose eggs in the past 6 games. He might get
I'm not saying you're wrong.
You've been saying that Von Miller got rid of himself.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, I could see another destination I could actually see, and it's not because they have the picks, but because they have the pieces that they can actually trade away would be the Eagles. And I mean, you really think about it, they got some young talent with Josh Sweat. They got Nolan Smith. You got 2 pass rushers right there. But the dark horse that I could see going, because they have 2 first-round picks coming up in this draft, is the Los Angeles Chargers. Could you imagine if the Cleveland Browns traded away Myles Garrett? Now, I know their GM said if you give us 2 first-round picks, I'm not going to pay attention to it. But if you think about it, they would have 3 first-round picks just this year, and it's a deep draft. Imagine what they can do with that.
I can't imagine it. I like it, but that's another side note. Let's say hi to some folks before we start getting back into the news and notes to see who's in here tonight. West Coast win, always in our house. West Coast, thank you so much. You guys getting a chance to meet Med. Is that the first time? I think it is the first time. That's right. AJ in the house. Carissa, good evening to you, ma'am. Ready for Super Bowl? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Big Raj in the house, one half of the Herb and Raj podcast, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. CST, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. The Herb and Raj podcast. Check them out. Good evening, sir. Roll Tide to you. All right. West Coast dropped her thought about Cooper Kupp going to Pittsburgh. Whew. That one is hard for me to see, but we'll watch. That one's a little tough for me to see. The Running Wrestling podcast, of course, Big Mike, he was he's doing a fantastic wrestling show. He's been on here. Maybe he'll be here in about a week or 2, I think. But you're not late, man. You're right on time, brother. Thanks for joining us. Love your comments as well. All right. So I want to ask you guys this because you guys are what I glean from you guys from having gotten to know you is that you respect the sport of football. You respect what it means, the history, that kind of stuff. And if I'm wrong about that, correct me, but I don't think I am. I think you guys do that. So did you hear about this Arthur Smith, Russell Wilson situation? Did you guys hear that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I guess I'm scooping news today.
Yeah.
Okay, but basically, in this last, I think it was a couple of playoff games ago, Arthur Smith tried to stop Russell Wilson from calling audibles. He thought it was undermining him in some way. They had a game against Cincinnati on the 1st of December. Actually, Pittsburgh won the game 44-38 with Russell calling audibles, but that game was Arthur Smith's, his example for what he doesn't want to see happen with Russell Wilson. Now, bear in mind that Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. That got to give you some kind of credence. That should give you some kind of credit with anybody that's coaching. I mean, just even if he's having the best career right now, the best part of his career right now, he won a Super Bowl. So you should give him some kind of respect. But Arthur Smith, for some reason, doesn't really do that. So I just want to ask you guys, now you heard what's going on, who do you think lasts longer in Pittsburgh, Russ or Arthur Smith?
I thought the report came out today Russell Wilson wasn't coming back.
He's definitely not coming back?
Yep.
That's what I saw a blurb about it, so I can't say.
I saw one, but I didn't totally swallow the source, but I could be wrong. But
yeah, and I'm sorry, I think I cut across. Med was about to say something on it.
Oh no, you're good. I mean, personally, you're not really going to miss much with Arthur Smith. I mean, he doesn't exactly call it the most dynamic offense in the game. I mean, it's run, and then maybe run again, and then you pass it. I mean, you look at what he did with George Pickens. You know, you already talked about the blocking and everything like that, but the dude had the ball thrown at him 109 times, and he caught it 56 times. He's not a number one receiver in my eyes. Your offense just revolves around two running backs. So, and when your leading receiver has 65 catches, which is Fairmouth, you're not doing anything for me either.
Yeah.
Shane, you got anything on this?
I agree with Matt. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see either of them back in Pittsburgh.
Right.
I also think that for Arthur Smith, the reports are different, but I think in his case, I don't know if he really disagreed with Russell Wilson's mind. Like that, I think they both kind of saw the same things play out, but Russell Wilson still thinks he's Super Bowl Russell Wilson, and he's not making those same plays anymore. And you can see it in your head and know what the right play is, but then throw the interception because you don't have the same arm talent as you had, 6 years ago. I agree with Matt. Like Arthur Smith, and we talked about this in the very beginning when this happened. Like in Tennessee, he did the same thing. Run, attempt a deep ball to a guy that's not going to catch it. You get targeted 109 times, you only come away with 56 catches. Not only, like Matt said, you're not a number one, you're not a number three. Mm-hmm. I mean, those numbers are absolutely terrible in the NFL. If you pick a number one, you target them 109 times. I mean, there's some number ones that are coming away with 96 catches out of that group, and that's with some real coverage and none of the other antics that Pickens involved in. Pittsburgh has had a problem with this in the wide receiver side where they get a good year and then I don't know if it's, in the water or what happens, but then the wide receiver just goes off the reservation. And
you noticed that, huh? It's the third time now.
Yeah. To that point too, I read an article about that too, where they were like, none of these guys that leaves Pittsburgh though does any better, especially in that wide receiver group. They don't do better after they leave. So it's like, does that say something about Tomlin's coaching and getting the most out of them for that 1 point while they're there? Mm-hmm. But I think the bigger issue here is we're having to debate Arthur Smith versus Russell Wilson with a little George Pickens thrown in, and there's everything that's wrong with the Pittsburgh offense and why you can't consider them a true contender until you fix all of what we were just talking about right there.
Very true.
I only have one quarterback, one wide receiver that comes to mind that did well after he left, and then after that he shot himself. So, but
let's go Burris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I think about how long ago that was and how many have left like since then. So it's just.
I mean, I respect the one to carry, but
Brown, Claypool.
You asked him for it. You carry in your sweatpants. You asked him for some trouble.
Yeah,
it's not a wide position.
And another interesting thing about Plexico Burris is he is the last Pittsburgh Steelers draft pick that was drafted in the top 10 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, basically the Steelers in what I call NFL purgatory, where they're not doing enough to really succeed, but they're doing just enough to not suck.
Yep. And in sports, you want to be either terrible or great. The middle is awful. Yep. You end up picking it 15 to 20 every year. And
I'm pretty sure before we get to the end of April, we're going to be going through all the teams and drafts and history, that kind of stuff. When we get to Pittsburgh, let's put a pin in that because I really feel like a lot of it is them going back into the draft to get guys at the same position because it's not working out. Yeah. Like they'll get quarterbacks. They get cornerbacks early because it hasn't been working out. The last time I heard of somebody who semi-worked out and then it didn't was Hilton. And then after that, you got guys on a D-line that aren't working out. I mean, no offense, but White is hurt every single year, almost every game. Something's going on with him. So they're always going in the draft trying to find depth. So maybe that's why they're not getting wide receiver high anymore because they got some of these other pressing needs. I don't know. That's why. Maybe we can get into it as we move through all of our draft coverage. We're going to have extensive draft coverage. But help me out with this one, and then we can move on to some Super Bowl stuff. We're going to spend some more time on that one. But there's rumors of Jameis Winston and the Giants floating around a good bit. I posted a poll on X. Got a lot of love, a lot of interaction, a lot of comments, a lot of stuff. But there's 5 teams that are potentially suitors for Jameis Winston's services. I want to hear what you guys think. I don't care if you pick the Giants or not. That's not really my point, but I've kind of been on record before that he'll give you touchdowns, but he'll give you almost the same amount of interceptions as well. So you got to figure out are you good with that with a bridge quarterback? Because the Giants had to consider that if they decide to go that route. We got the Panthers, the Titans, the Dolphins, of course the Giants, and staying with the Browns would be the top option. Unless I'm missing a team that you guys are thinking about, that's what we got going on. First off, your thoughts about Jameis as a quarterback, and then of course, where you think he best fits in this list, or maybe a team that's in your head that is not in this list. Who's going first on this one?
I don't care, dude. I don't mind the Titans one because bridge quarterback is what I think Jameis is for sure. Maybe he'll win you a couple of games at the beginning of the season so it doesn't look like you're tanking, and then it'll look terrible towards the end of the season, and then you will be tanking, which probably suits your team just fine. So specifically the Giants, I would just ride lockout for another year, especially if I wasn't moving up to get a quarterback. And I just wouldn't. I'd punt on one more year and get another high draft pick. So I wouldn't get Jameis.
No, I'm just ignore that last part. I know we can't keep doing this. I told you this last week.
So what are you gonna do? Go sign a quarterback?
You told me that we can't find nobody better than Locke on the street.
But why would you want to? So why are you trying to go from the 3rd to like the 7th pick?
Okay, let's go back to what I was saying. I know it didn't go over, but I'm gonna say it again. Anyways, I looked at all the losses that we lost last year, and I went on record. Even on the show we was on last night, I said if we had a competent quarterback that can hit open men and just read, we win 9 at a minimum, 10 games at the very least with a competent quarterback, guys that can actually play quarterback a little bit. Why do you want to keep locking inside
Because I don't think you want to win 9 or 10 next year. I think you want to win 3 or 4 next year if you're not drafting your quarterback, and draft your quarterback of the future next year. If you go get a competent guy and win 9 or 10 games, you're going to be in the middle of the pack, right? Let's say you keep that guy another year, he wins another 9 or 10 games. You all of a sudden become the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we've been talking about bad to start this thing. I'm saying go for the full reboot, be bad for 1 more year, get your quarterback of the future rather than putting a Band-Aid on the problem. That's what I'm saying.
And then where's Shane and Dayball going to sit in this? Can we talk about them too? And we talked about them.
I thought they were already going to be gone, so I'm surprised.
No. That was conditional based on the fact that Mara said, you know what, he wanted continuity because they haven't got a chance to draft their quarterback yet. So if they're not going to do this year, as you're surmising, then that means they're going to be seeing another year, which would make about 3 years where they haven't drafted their quarterback. That sound good?
I think that you guys aren't penalizing them for giving Daniel Jones a contract. You're like, oh, it's not your fault because you didn't draft him, okay, but you still decided to pay him.
I mean, he's got a point. I mean, he's got a point on that.
I agree with her, but my point's not wrong here. You're talking about giving him a 3rd year and not drafting another quarterback again. The fan base.
I basically made the mistake of saying Giants. My bad. I retract my Giants answer so we can move on from this subject. I will never mention the Giants again on this show. I think Jameis would do well with the Titans for a year.
I can't have a point on this show about the Giants. I can't talk about them.
No, I can't talk about them. I would say you can't. I can't.
Okay, well,
yeah.
You good?
Would you rather have Jameis Winston or Shador Sanders?
Both.
I mean, both.
I wouldn't start Shador first year. Is why
I don't know how anybody could even think about doing that. Like with the Titans, though, if they don't get Shador, Jameis ain't gonna help you. That'd be like a year in the toilet for the most part. I like something about Shador, but I guess I don't really feel like he's a top 5 guy. We discussed it on this show before. Show was on last night. I was talking about Abdul Carter. I was talking about Travis Hunter. I was talking about everybody but Shador Sanders. So I think I'll go with Jameis on this one because he'd be a fitting bridge, I guess, for what we're trying to accomplish. At least the guys, our wide receivers, will get the ball. They get targets at least, because right now they're not getting that. So at least they'll get targets, and that's going to be good for the confidence. So I probably will go with Jameis on this one, but I'm not. I think I like Ward better than Sanders, but that's not possible for us. I don't think.
I agree.
So for me, I'm thinking, okay, just get a bridge quarterback. I mean, Darnold's name was thrown around there. That's good if it can happen or not. Get a Hunter or a Carter. I've been saying this on record anyway. Get Dart in the second round if you can get him. If he's still there, get him in the second round. I can live with that. And I like him enough that I can work. McCord, I'm not really sure about, but he'll be around too. We're not sure about McCord, but get Dart and see if that works out. I mean, it can't be worse than the Locks and the DeVitos and the Joneses of the world. It can't be. It just no.
Tommy DeVito, though.
No. All right, so Shane, man, where you guys with the Jameis? What do you think is the best fit for him?
You want to go first?
See,
Shane?
for me, I think Jameson doesn't make a great bridge quarterback because I think that, as Herb mentioned, I think he's a great number 2 because he's going to back up the guy. He's okay with not being the starter. He'll win you. He can win you some games, but you want him to win like 2 games as a backup. You don't want him to have to play out your season. In the same way that goes as a transitional quarterback. He could win a couple of games and put you in a tough spot, or he could lose all the games, and then you've basically just lost another season by having him there. So for me, I think the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, and I think staying with the Browns. I think those are the top 2 options for him. I don't like him at Tennessee. I don't like him in the Giants. If I'm the Giants, first of all, the head coach would be gone. The GM would have been gone the second that the owner said, if Saquon Barkley signs with a team inside our division, I'm not going to be happy. He signs with the Eagles. He's going to get a Super Bowl. I would have fired the GM that second. If you didn't decide to already fire him after you gave Daniel Jones $114 million to be the 32nd best quarterback in the league, you've proven that you're not here to be the GM of the Giants throughout. So I would have cut bait, make that move. Like you said, I'm not a big Ward or Shador Sanders as my franchise quarterback. So I would make a strong defensive move and then pick somebody up in the second round, or wait an entire season and then say, hey, okay, who else do we have as a possibility?
Okay. So I ran into that Michael Parsons story. I probably shouldn't have read that because now I feel even worse than I already did about how the Giants lied to him in the draft. I shouldn't have read it. If somebody told me, don't read that. But I already read it, so the die's been cast. But, okay, so from a free agent quarterback standpoint, if we go with what you guys are talking about and Jameis is not the one for us, and we decide to get a quarterback in the second or third round, whatever it is, who's going at the bridge? And please don't say Drew Lock. That is just totally that. We could be seeing him in a full season, and it just so who's our options from a free agent quarterback standpoint? Are we trying to outbid Darnold, or are we trying to, or just somebody else who we're not thinking about? That's a benefit to be the bridge for us while we go through this extra tanking season that's been suggested.
So I agree with Shane. I like Winston going to the Dolphins, but also agreeing with Herb because really and truthfully, let's be real. If you actually do decide to tank this coming season, I know it's painful. I'm a Bears fan. You could potentially get your boy Arch Manning with the number 1 pick next year. You already had the Goat Slayer and Eli Manning. Go ahead and bring his little nephew too. Why not have a Manning dynasty right there in New York again?
Why do you think this is going to work though? Based on what? Twitter's going crazy about Arch. Like tank for Arch. They ain't even got hashtags. Tank for Arch. What makes you think it's going to work? Convince me. Help me out. Why is that going to work? Based on what?
I think Arch is going to be a lot like his namesake, just like his grandfather. Great player running around getting absolutely destroyed because he's going to be on terrible teams. I think just like his namesake.
So why do we need that now? Again?
If you're not going to be a terrible team anymore, y'all going to be that unit, man.
We sure are working on our defense.
Giants.
We sure are working on our defense. We try to get that straight, but yeah. So is there a free agent option for us out there or no?
I know you're not going to like this, but I
just want to hear anything. Right now, all I'm hearing is crickets. So
Mac Jones. Get you someone that can bridge you for another year or two. I mean, that's a tough one for me, and I know Shane is like sitting there like, yeah, go ahead, get Mac Jones. But
you got somebody hitting Mac Jones real good.
Oh, you were a Mac Jones fan?
No, somebody else was here. Don't forget Bama now. Don't forget. Right above you in Hollywood Square. Knows Mac Jones better than anybody in this group. And then he moves himself from the school. Okay. To your right.
I was wondering what happened.
So, Herb, is Mac Jones a good idea for us?
I have no idea. Yeah. I'm out of the Giant sweepstakes. I have no idea. No opinion. Giants are on their own.
The Giants, man. I'm just asking you more questions about what you're talking about. It's not an attack, it's more questions. It's a big difference.
Yeah. I didn't say I was being attacked. I'm good. I'm not sure.
Does it help? Okay.
Yeah.
Shane, we talked about Mac Jones. You've been on the same show we were on talking about Mac Jones. Is that a workable solution for you? For us to have him as a quarterback?
I mean, if I'm not a fan of the Giants, I think it's a workable solution. But if you want the best for the Giants, I don't think Mac Jones is your choice. If I'm the Giants right now, I would make a decision. If we're going to be terrible, then you can do a Mac Jones. You can do Locke that you already have. If you think that this is going to be an okay season based on what we get, I'm not opposed to throwing some money Sam Darnold's way and seeing if he can catch fire for a little bit. I think the problem is there's not a lot of second-tier quarterbacks that are out there that don't have like a glaring flaw. So if you're a team, why am I going to spend capital that I already am trying to use to get draft picks to sign free agents with a quarterback that's not going to get me that much better? Like you said, Yusuf, if you watch the Giants this year and you said, if I have a functional quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over as much, we're going to be in playoff contention. Which quarterback in the free agent market are you going after? Because every single one of them that's sitting out there, turnovers and big time mistakes when you need them is exactly why they're on the free agent market right now. So, like I said, I think the brain trust of the Giants needs to decide, do we just, be terrible again and we'll amass what we have and fight another year? Or do you go, okay, we have some pieces. This draft's going to help us. Let's make a move so that we can be competitive. But that's a decision, like I said. With the brain trust the Giants have, this is what I fully believe will happen. They're going to spend money on a free agent quarterback. It's not going to go well. There'll be turnovers. They're not going to have a draft answer. And we're going to be in the same conversation about 10 months from now, where you're going to ask us the same question about the Giants. That's my full-on belief.
I certainly hope not. I hope not. Anyways,
as a fan, I would hope not as well. But I'm.
Yeah. I I don't trust the
I
Giants'
think
brain.
this is going to be a bad go for the Giants.
Yeah, I don't trust the brain trust. Apparently, they lied to folks apparently, so I don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I would do on Shane and Dayball. Kind of felt the same way. As long as they went out together, not one or the other, but together. They were a package deal, but they didn't. They stayed together. So here we are, hoping on hope. All right, Super Bowl talk. All right, so let's just jump into that real quick. So first off, what are you guys doing for the Super Bowl? Where you watching the game at? What kind of snacks you guys are going to be putting down for the Super Bowl? What's your plan?
I'll be at one of my friend's house, and we're having a chili cook-off. So we're going to have like a whole bunch of different chilies and everything like that, and I'm looking forward to it because I'm all about that competition. 5 alarm
stuff too?
What I do with mine is I use chorizo, steak, and hamburger in mine, and also I'm a Texas.
You ain't playing,
chili
boy.
person.
Yeah.
Meat coma. I like it. All right. Herb, Shane, what are you guys doing?
We're having a couple people over at the house, including my parents, driving over. So wings are usually one of my favorites. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Really, just honestly, just hang. Which also means Friday and Saturday are clean the house days. So I'm looking really forward to that. So no matter how your house looks, your wife never thinks it's going to be good enough for company. So now we have to clean places that I didn't even know existed until that. But Sunday will be enjoying. Yeah, I'm with Raj. I was going to try and get an invite to the cook-off, but now I have to stay home. So,
all right. What kind of wings you putting down? Any particular flavors?
Lemon pepper is the favorite for me.
That's that's good.
That's really good. All right.
Like Mike's down the street, so I might just steal the Rotel dip.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's really good when you do it right. So I'm down with that. I mentioned it last time on that show. Maybe he thought it was a good idea too. That's good. All right, Shane, how about you, brother? What you doing?
Homebody, and we normally do pizza, and then your traditional cheese and crackers, fruit snacks like that through leading up to the game, and then pizza because you don't really mind if everybody just has a plate and grabs a seat, and no big work after that.
Copy that. All right, nothing wrong with that. All right, so this game is what it is. It's been decided. The Chiefs are the defending champions, and they're playing for a three-peat against the Eagles, team they played a couple of years ago. In that game, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Hurts threw for like over 300 yards, had 4 touchdowns, ran for 70-something yards, and they still lost, I think, by 3 points. So that one stung. There were some defensive lapses and some other things that happened during that game. But before we get into the X's and O's, Chiefs or Eagles in this matchup for the Super Bowl. I know I heard from some of you guys on previous shows, but maybe you changed your mind. So Chiefs or Eagles on Sunday.
Who we got? Who are we going for?
Yes, sir.
I am actually going for the Chiefs. I just think that would, when if it is a really close game, I can't bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid. I mean, that's where it comes down to. And I mean, they got the refs in their pocket, according to like 90% of the nation right now. But you look at everything about that team. I mean, they're built for this, and they've been here 4 times before. This is their 5th time in the last 7 years that they've been on this stage, and experience goes a long way. And I'm not putting any disbelief in Saquon Barkley or anything, but if he was to get hurt, Lord hoping that he doesn't, but if he was, what offense are you going to see from the Eagles after that?
Fair point. All right, Rod got the Eagles 30-24. Big Mike from the Running Wrestling Pod got the Chiefs winning 31-24. So you guys
watched Rodgers score and just added a point to it.
Yeah, well,
you just got prices right.
Yeah.
Did you complete it to that point? Because I mean, it's right there. It's kind of hard to miss. All right. Herb, Shane, how about you guys? Who you got? I think I know both of you guys, but I want to hear it.
I agree with Rod Jarek on this one. Eagles. I think the score is a little high, but I think it's going to be a dominant run game. As Matt said, if Saquon Barkley has a continuous, as he's had on this playoff and this season run, I think Philly dominates up front. I think they really eat up the clock. As you said, it's hard to bet against Mahomes, but the times where he's been able to come back, he's had time. Yeah. And I think Philly is going to pound the ball to try to eat up that clock and eliminate mistakes. And I think they're going to cover Kelsey like nobody's business. I think that's the big thing that's going to hurt them. I don't think they have a dominant wide receiver in that group for Kansas City this year.
Damn.
Ouch. I'm embarrassed. That's not even me.
That's why I love my brother. Yep. I'm kind of feeling cruel summer right now. So
wow.
Anti-Hero was a fun song too. Playing all the time.
It's pretty hard to get me.
Arm is the tight end who plays for the Chiefs.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead, Herb.
I'm picking the Eagles and rooting for the Eagles, but it's kind of interesting when you take both the guys' points. If the Eagles do lean on their run game and eat up a lot of clock, but this game stays close, that scares me because Mahomes, I mean, that's been the MO all year. We don't have to blow anybody out. Just keep the game close. And which quarterback's going to blink first? And Mahomes is going to do something. But I agree with Shane. Oh, that's not what you do down in this spot. I agree with Shane.
Oh, there you go.
I think it's just a spot. I think it's a spot on the Hollywood Squares. Barkley and a big game, and I think that's it, man. Minimize Hurts' mistakes, play action at times if he gets it going. Key. I mentioned, I guess one of my dark horse picks is Goddard coming alive in this game. After you put a lot of attention on the wide receivers, so I just feel like Philly finds a way to get this one done. But there's also a little bit of rooting against Kansas City. I'm an anti-dynasty guy, unless it's Alabama, of course.
Oh yeah, I mean,
apparently a Swiftie, so this is like crazy. So under that proviso that the Eagles have to kind of not let it be close? What's your score prediction look like for the Eagles to win it then?
I mean, I still have it close. I just don't see them blowing them out. And I could see them scoring some points in this one. So I forget what I said last night. Something like 30 to 27, something like that. So I do think it'll be high scoring, but yeah.
Okay.
So I'm reading which song that they want to start singing.
He's saying Philly's getting it done on Sunday. Everybody got some love for Philly, man. They think the Eagles are going to win. I like this.
I think a lot of it is Kansas City fatigue, though, too.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I was going to say winner's fatigue.
Let's be serious about it. Non-football just aside for a second. Could you take the Eagles, especially from the aforementioned Kelsey, if they win 3 in a row? Could you imagine what we'd be seeing and hearing? I think a lot of people are tired, man. They just want to see something different. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Well, plus because we just came off the Patriots too, so it's like we just got over the last one. And yes, I will check it out. Yeah, they're gonna have me start singing here in a minute. So this is your fans. This is not my fault. I had nothing to do with this.
You can go ahead and sing it. Honestly, it's not gonna hurt. So go ahead.
Trust me, if I start singing, those numbers at the top of the corner are going down drastically.
Oh, no, I think they're going to go up. So go ahead, 4 bars. By all means, brother, the floor is yours.
No, nobody wants that. I'll pretend to drink for a minute until Shane starts talking. Or somebody else.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, okay, so I like the idea that you guys are throwing out there. I mean, they know that the run game is going to be vicious with the Eagles, so they're going to try to go out of their way to stack the box and stop it. So I was saying yesterday that would probably mean, if that was to be successful, that would mean that Hurts would have to throw the ball more. And based on what we saw this year, that's so somewhat like the Bill Belichick school of defense. Make the player do what they don't feel comfortable doing. To me, if Hurts is throwing more, that's what you don't want for the Eagles. I know what happened 2 years ago. He threw for over 300 and they still lost. He ran for 70 plus, threw for 4 touchdowns against the champions and they still lost. So I think in this game, if Hurts is throwing the ball a lot, I feel like it's not going to be a good situation. My dark horse guy was Devontae Smith, because I'm probably guessing that Jalen Watson's going to be guarding him. Lord have mercy. The man had 11 tackles all year long, I think.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
Yeah.
So I think
the
guy that.
Yeah, the guy that came on right before us had picked Devontae Smith because obviously Bama guy that would be my favorite, but I didn't want to just follow the last guest, so that's why I went elsewhere. But definitely,
I missed him. I came on when you guys came on. All right, so Herbert definitely the anti-hero of the show. Okay, I'm not a person to argue that.
Well, I'm surprised they've missed the obvious one. Like if the Eagles lose, it's going to be a cruel summer. See, there you go.
Just give it time. Just 10 more time on the show. I'm sure it'll come through at some point. And Bo is.
I'll tell you, Rod Jarek knows an awful lot of Swift music for saying you're the Swiftie, Herb. I'm just going to throw it out there.
I appreciate this. Someone else noticed, Shane. I appreciate that.
Oh no, everybody noticed it, but it's like you can't really send comments his way because he's in the comment section already. So we all see that.
I think it's being up in this top corner, Herb. Let me give this a try. Roll Tide. Oh yeah, it's this top corner. Yeah. I can feel it. It's just it's changed me.
It's just different up there.
It's different.
I mean, he's a Patriots fan. He's used to being on the top of the mountain for a long time. So I mean, looking down on all the other teams.
No. Can I say this too? A point that you guys kind of quickly made in there. When the Patriots were on top, people said they got all the calls. When Alabama was on top, people said they got all the calls. Chiefs are on top right now. People say they got all the calls. Like it just goes with whoever you think is winning. Everything that you see happen, you're like, oh yeah, they're getting all the calls. We don't watch the entire game. We'll watch those two calls we disagree with and say that favored them. So I think that's part of the problem.
So there is one thing I want to actually comment about with what Bo's talking about right here is the Eagles have a much better defense this time around. And I'm going to be honest, I really don't think they do. I think their secondary is better with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. Look, when they played the Chiefs 2 years ago, they led the league in sacks. They had 4 guys that had 11 sacks amongst them. This year, they had their biggest sack guy is Jalen Carter with 6.5. And I mean, I know some people are putting some sauce on that Kansas City line right now, the offensive line, especially their left tackle, but they are loaded with Pro Bowlers. And Jalen Carter is going to go up against Trey Smith, probably one of the best guards in the game. So, I mean,
oh man, my brothers in here, my brothers in here hazing me in the comment section. Man, we family, man. Why you doing me like this? We'll get to that. You wrong for this, man. It's just messed up. But no, I'm with you on that one. I think the defense is a little better than it was.
Defense. It's just.
Yeah, it's just cornerback because they had a problem with it 2 years ago, and we talked about it on this show. It was like these boys is getting burned, so the guys are better. I think that Zach Bond is a big help on the defensive side. I got no beef with that. I don't know which one is the best of the two. I guess we'll see because that defense got to show up against this Kansas City Chiefs team. So we're gonna find out what's what here. All right, Big Mike said I'm sticking with Xavier Worthy. It's a difference maker for the Chiefs.
Yeah. So
I sure can't do it. We'll see what happens, but I can't do that.
I hate to reference the show again last night, but they had texted us before and they were like, hey, you guys gonna make opposite picks as a joke. And I said, whoever Raj picks, I'll pick the opposite. So he picked the Eagles. I picked Kansas City, and I had my sneaky MVP as Xavier Worthy. Just because, I mean, Patrick Holmes is going to win it if it's the Chiefs. So you got to go somewhere else. So I went with Xavier Worthy. I said he's going to catch a touchdown and run for a touchdown.
High Tide.
High Tide. That's a great commercial.
That's a great
High Tide. What was she doing with the string? Oh, I wasn't following that. He was pulling the string. She pulled a string on the back of his head, getting to say Roll Tide.
Because he bought the hat and he still had the tag on it, and so she's like tearing it off. Like, you just got that 5 minutes ago. You have no idea what you're doing out here.
Thank you, because I didn't understand that part of the commercial. It is good.
She goes, pop. It's Roll Tide, fool. So yeah,
I like it. Oh man, we fam, man. Why would you do me like this? You root for the Browns, man. Why would you do me like this? How you gonna talk to me? You a Browns fan? We're embarrassed. I'm gonna catch up with you later, man. You on for this? All right. So she's no Saquon Barkley's in trouble as soon as he walks in. Yeah. And
No.
you guys,
That's a Taylor Swift line. That's another Swiftie thing. Yes, he just snuck that in on you. That's all.
Actually recognize that. I can't believe that we're doing this for the whole show, but okay. The cool part though is I'm gonna maintain my promise to you guys a long time ago. I ain't gonna utter her name in my mouth on this show. So all of their references, that'll work, but I ain't saying the other part.
It's the riffraff that you let into the comment section. That's what it's gonna say.
I don't know if that's on me. I'm leaving. Isn't Jalen Carter sick? Can you verify that for us, Roz? I had no idea. If he's sick, that's another problem.
Yeah, it says he's dealing with illness.
Okay, today is Thursday, right?
He missed his media availability today because he was sick.
Okay. But they practice on Saturday, though. So let's see if he practices.
I think he'll be all right.
Okay. But for me, there's a lot of things I think are equal with these two teams. But the one thing I don't think is equal is that head coach. And I said it before, and I still stand by it. If Andy Reid does, in fact, pull it out and have a three-peat, he's going to be up there in the best coach of all time conversation. Sirianni, he can't match up with this. And I said it yesterday on referencing the other show because it's so fresh. But I said, even if Mahomes was out for a matter of games, Reid could still coach them to W's. I think he's that good of a coach. Sirianni can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he doesn't have that level. So I think a good bit of coaching and creativity that could also be the undoing for the Eagles. But we'll see what happens, man. There's a lot of folks that want the Eagles to win. It's hard for me being in the NFC East to want that, but I really don't want a three-peat either. So I'm kind of
you want the game to get canceled.
Man, that's tough for you.
A snowstorm or a tie. I mean, that'd be great. But I know it's not reality. There's no way all this money's sent into a Super Bowl and it ends with a tie. No way. They'll do 9 overtime before they let that happen. So I know better than that. But yeah, I'm in a quandary because I don't want to see this constant, these side, what you call it, distractions in the I'm blanking out on the name. You know where they are, where they sit. You know what I'm saying I'm just tired of all that stuff, and I don't want the Eagles to lord it over us that they won a Super Bowl in our division. I just don't want any of that stuff. So I don't know what to do. I'm just kind of stuck. But any other thoughts on the big game? Anything that you see as a matchup you're looking for? Anything you want to see happen that's maybe we haven't talked about? If not, we'll jump into some NFL draft a little bit. What you got?
I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Steve Spagnuolo has cooked up for this Eagles offense.
Yep.
That's what I want. He's like the equivalent of, not exactly Bill Belichick, but he's not far from it.
Yeah. Everybody wants him to be a head coach. He had a rough time with the Rams, but he definitely deserved the chance. But I think we talked about it last week, right, Herb?
Mm-hmm.
He should stay. If he had the opportunity, he should stay in KC and ride that puppy as long as he can because it's the sweetest gig you can find right now because he's not getting a head coach in KC right now. That's for certain. They ain't going until Reid decides to leave. So go ahead and ride that bad boy and win championships. Yep, so I totally get that. And thanks both for jumping in, man. Know the comments and the questions and the song references. Appreciate you, man. And yes, sir, you already know what it is. The Brown been sick. Thermometer in the mouth, cold compress on their head, the whole walking around in the bathroom with slippers on, and ventilator on their chest. They've been sick for a while. And this is his son. This man loves every team, every single season. He picks a different team. Talk about Go Chiefs. Boy, sit down. All right.
That's the way to live.
So that's kind of stressful though because we don't know how to talk to you if you got different team every year.
True.
But that's where that is. But he's in his house, not my house. So he got to deal with that, not me. But all right, so NFL draft. So have you guys been watching any of the coverage? Like the Senior Bowl and that kind of stuff. I can't really get into. I can't get into the Senior Bowl and the Combine and stuff. Have you guys been hearing anything that you think is valuable to the conversation? Maybe a quick riser that's kind of moving up into the first round that we didn't expect. Have you been hearing anything? What have you been seeing and hearing?
I think Shane mentioned him earlier. Not a first round riser, but Jackson Dart's stock has really come up after the Senior Bowl. And obviously, I'm biased. I paid a little bit more attention in the SEC, but it seemed like Milrose went down and Darts went up, and that was kind of. And then somehow Will Howard. I don't know if it necessarily went up or he just went ahead of Milroe because Milroe dropped. Yeah, there's several. I think Kuiper had him lower than that also now. I want to say I looked at 2 others the other day, just quarterback wise. So yeah, that was it.
Will Howard above. Okay.
I mean, take everything with a grain of salt, but that's just kind of what was a couple of things I read afterwards.
That's amazing. All right. Anybody else heard anything?
They were talking about. I was listening to Mel Kiper actually while I was cooking dinner tonight, having some cottage pie when I'm done with this. But it's like shepherd's pie, but with cheese. Anyway, they were talking about. I can't remember the guy's name, but Louisville's their quarterback is rising. Like they're saying that. I can't remember his name, but they said that he actually had a better week than even Jackson Dart. And Jackson Dart, they're actually projecting possibly sliding into the first round as well. So it was So just letting you know. But the good news for you is you're like right there on the cusp with that 3 pick in the second round. So you might still get him.
Yeah. Just looking at like Mel Kiper's rankings for quarterbacks, it's Sanders, Ward, Dart, Howard, Milroe is this top 5.
Yeah. I think the guy that they were talking about was the dude that is number 8. And I was like, man, he's
Tyler Shoe. I'll mess up his last name, but Tyler from Louisville, he's 8.
Flew,
yeah. After Milroe, it's McCord, Ewers, and then the Louisville quarterback. Yeah.
But they were bringing up Emory Jones to tackle from LSU. Like they were talking about the fact that he was really nasty, and you do want that with your offensive lineman. You want them to be the nastiest people on the field. I'm a lineman, so. But they were talking very big on him too. Like he's making some moves up the draft board. So,
I like it.
All right, Dan, you got anything that you've been hearing?
I mean, like you guys have already mentioned, I think this is a terribly weak quarterback draft. I don't know if in a normal draft year, I think even Ward and Shadur Sanders would be back half of the first round as opposed to, battling it out for first 2 picks now. So I think that kind of puts you in a position. I think this is going to be a year based on both the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if some guards and centers ended up going early 3rd, maybe into the 2nd round. I think people have started to decide that the power run game through the middle is more important than what it was before. You can spend a ton of money on tackles and be wrong in the first round. But the guys that they've moved from guards and had them play center, they've been starters from day one, and they've helped them out. You look at Tampa Bay, they took Barton, had played all over at Duke, put him at center, really shined for them. There's a couple of guys that have played tackle but are probably undersized that are going to get a run at that. I think that's going to be a big mover this year in the draft.
Okay. So if you had the option and you were and your team was in this place, whether it be by trade or they're already in the order, and you had a chance to pick either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who are you picking and why? And you could use your favorite team as an example if you want to, but who are you picking out of the 2 of those guys?
I mean, my team is in this position, and I think if you're Vrabel and you absolutely love Abdul Carter, I think he's the pick you make. If you're not absolutely in love with him, there are plenty of teams that are. So if you're the Patriots and you don't think that Carter is going to fit exactly what you're looking for, then I think you can build some real draft capital out of it. But I also think if you're the Patriots, you just signed Vrabel. He's a defensive guy. If you want to give him a little stocking stuffer, Abdul Carter's not a bad place to start.
No.
It gives you a guy you can set off the edge. You can do some work. I think the Patriots defensive backfield, I don't know. I mean, Hunter will play. There's no doubt about it. Sure talent, he'll play. But I don't know how much better he makes the Patriots by putting him on the field with all the other weaknesses they have.
That's fair. All right, Herb, Med, which one of you guys are going next?
Well, I'm a Bears fan, of course, but I mean, I think that we're going to go with one of the guys Shane kind of referenced earlier, which would be either Will Campbell from LSU or even Kelvin Banks from Junior from Texas. I think we just need to solidify the offensive line first and foremost, and then the second round probably pick up Amari and Hampton from UNC, the power running back that they have there. I agree that this year with the success that you saw from Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and
Josh
Jacobs. Thank you, brain fart. The running game needs to come back into the game. Now, if I was the Giants, you already got a pass rusher. You got two of them. You got Brian Burns on one side. You got Kayvon Thibodeau in the mid on the other side. Go ahead and get Travis Hunter or Will Johnson. Get you a cornerback, shut down corner.
Yeah.
Can't take Johnson that early. I love me some Will. I mean, he's from Michigan. I love me some Will Johnson. Can't take him that early. If we drop back and get somebody else to pick and get some picks, oh yeah. Totally different story. Yeah, I would take Will Johnson in a minute. I think he's
going to be something. He has a great break on the ball.
It's going to be Michigan bias, but yeah, I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in this draft. So no question about that. How about you, Herb? What would you do?
I'll say Hunter just because it hasn't been said, just because the positional value and the chance to play him on either side. Maybe that's the person I take. But I don't know. If I'm at the top, I do kind of like the idea of trading back and just getting more because I don't know that I'm like super in love with any of these picks at the top. If I'm one of these teams and I have a lot of holes. But now, is somebody willing to trade up for any of these players that you mentioned? I don't know. So I think that's kind of what, if they're feeling like I'm feeling, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to offer you a whole lot. So for purpose of this question, I think I'll go Travis Hunter.
Okay. So nothing wrong with that. No, I like that. Okay. So it's going to be fun. What I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and close the show up. I want to just tell you guys what we're going to be looking at moving forward because this is going to be new territory for us. So you guys are clearly knowledgeable. If anybody watching heard the show tonight, they can tell that you guys know your stuff when it comes to football. So what I want to start doing, hopefully every year, this time of year, leading to the draft, I want to have people come through who may have a specific leaning. I got some guys. I got one guy's a Titans fan. I got some guys a Denver fan. We got a Pat fan, got Bears fan, got people who are already in here that can do this and come in and kind of share their thoughts for the picks that their team has in the draft, kind of break down what's going on coaching wise, positionally, what they see, what they like, give them a segment to do that. I want to do that all the way through the this whole pre-draft season. And then on draft night, and this is just a running idea I think might be able to work out, I want to do a draft special that night. So anybody that can be on there, I want to go ahead and run down the whole first round. I'm not going to try to put it on the screen because I've seen how that looks before. Yeah. We're just talk through that while on you guys TV sets. We got enough room for 10 in the box, but we can go ahead and pull folks from the comment sections, get them in studio, and bump somebody backstage, and then and just do that where we need to for the entire draft special, and we can kind of just go through every pick, break it down, seeing where they are, all the first round picks. So I just want to invest in this. So hope you guys think it's a good idea. If not, hit me up offline. Let me know where I can tweak, what need to be better, what we can do better with that. But any thoughts you may have. So I want to just kind of go into the draft, just get invested in this thing. It's going to be fun. We're all going to be watching it anyway. We all got dogs in the fight somewhere. So we might as well go ahead and just enjoy this, man. So some running ideas and stuff. But any closing thoughts on the NFL draft, Super Bowl, anything we talked about? What are you guys thinking? Yeah, so surprise pick. That's what I should have for surprise first round pick. I know there's at least a couple. At least. I got a few in my hand, but I want to hear you guys. Do that? Surprise first round entry?
Yeah. I mean, one person I'm actually really high on that, is starting to get a lot of buzz is Mike Green from Marshall. Dude looks like a beast. I mean, if you really watch some of his video and everything, he's tearing it up. Like, I love how he uses his hands. He can disengage off the block, and he just crashes down. So Mike Green is someone I would, if I was any team that needs a legitimate edge rusher that is in the mid to late round 1, I would definitely look at him.
We are Marshall. I love it. All right, Shane, Herb, who got it next? If nobody comes to mind for you, that's fine. But just want to just
no, because I feel like mine's going to be one of the quarterbacks, and I feel like I've kind of talked about him every week. But one of those guys is going to slide up in there, and I think because it's one of the more high-profile positions, so it's like I definitely got a lot of work to do on the edges. But that's just where I stick most of the time. One of these guys and one of these teams is going to get a little desperate, and they're going to trade up and get one of those guys. And then I was kind of looking at just looking at the draft boards, and a guy who was a first rounder until this last year of college was Isaiah Bond, formerly of Texas. And before that was, I forget what team he played for before that, but I know a lot of people still thought he was a first rounder. So I'm I don't root against him, but it is interesting that if his stock goes down from the transfer, but I kind of want to see where he ends up. Wide receivers kind of get moved around like that, but he still got the speed.
Okay. So is this guy that's going to get put to the first round just happen to be Miro by any chance?
I just don't think he should. I could see Dart moving up there, but I just feel like Milroe's second or third round easy. I understand the intangibles, but people have been talking about intangibles for years now, so at some point you got to recognize it. So I don't think he should, but I think he'll have a great pro day, and I think he interviews really well. And, you can't tell with NFL front offices anymore. Somebody will think that they can maximize him, but we saw Anthony Richardson, and nobody really knows what they're doing with him right now. So that's my fear for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Before I let Shane go, I'll ask you a question real quick. Seriously, serious question for me. Serious. You don't know where Isaiah Bond was before Texas, for real, or are you just saying that?
I don't remember the school he went to. I remember he had this last year at Texas, and then I don't remember. Yeah. It just slips my mind. I can't remember. I'm getting old, man. I can't remember everything.
I
see a little bit of
growth. I'm asking. No, I think you're fine. I think because when a team leaves, when a player leaves your team, you guys just they don't exist. He was at Bama, man.
Was he? Huh?
Yeah.
Don't remember that at all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
The fact that you felt like you had to tell me is kind of like it hurts my feelings there, man.
No, I thought it was like, you made him persona non grata. I knew you actually really forgot that he was there. Okay. No,
Gravedigger. He's the one that caught Gravedigger, one of the most famous plays in Alabama history, certainly in Alabama Auburn history.
Oh, the prayer at Jordan Hare?
Yes. So of course I remember. Gee.
Copy that. Okay.
He also had the non-catch in the Georgia game that helped us win the SEC championship. So yes, I remember these plays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sweet deal.
I don't like Bond more because when the new coach came in, he called Bond and Bond wouldn't even answer his phone calls. So that's why he's more of a persona non grata. Yeah. Wow. Caleb Downs left for more money, but he at least stayed to meet the new coach and shook his hand and everything. And look, he went to the highest bidder. Like, okay, that's fine. But Bond, they called Bond wouldn't even pick up. And so, he had
he telephone bill.
Yeah, so Bond's a different story for me.
At
least you could pick up the phone and say, "Hey, man, I'm still leaving, coach." That's fine, but
disrespect. See, you guys care about the heart behind the football, the respect, the honor, the history.
Yeah.
I love y'all, man. That's y'all care about that. Some of these other folks that
there are people that transfer that I'm like Ja'Cory Brooks when he went to Louisville. I was happy for him. He had a great play at Bama. He got hurt. He was banged up. He was going to fall down the depth chart. Boom. He had to go somewhere. Jalen Hurts, one of the most famous transfer. I wasn't mad at him for that. So it's not just the transfer. Sometimes it's the situation and the way you do it. So, no, I don't hate everybody who transfers from him. It's just I look at each individual thing and go. But Bond is one I just don't respect. So.
Copy that. No, I respect that. How about you, Shano? What you think, man? You did a guy you thinking about? I know you probably go through a lot.
Well, I agree with that, but I'll say that both the names that were mentioned already before me, I think, do have a great move into that first round. I think, like you said, lineman size, I think that's more likely that somebody's going to shift into the early second or the third. The two names that I'm watching to make moves, we've talked a little bit about Kyle McCord. I think he's going to get some play based on how he finished his season. And I think people are going to go back and look at what he did at Ohio State and realize that, he put together a pretty good tape as well. I also think the other one that jumps out at me that he's undersized but outrageous production, I think Frannon, the tight end from Bowling Green, is going to be one of these guys that's a mover, and whoever gets him is going to be able to use him as a weapon very early on. And he's a guy I think that he won't make it in the first, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody late second takes a flyer on him and then doesn't regret it.
There's some guys I like, but I can't pronounce their names. So I don't even want to try to mess with. There's one guy, he might be the start of the draft, but I can't say his last name for nothing. So, I got to hear it first before I go butcher it. But
is it Princely?
No, his last name is long, my guy. It's matter of fact, you know what? Now I want to find it. Now I guess we have fun butchering it together on this show before we close out.
That's what's up.
But yeah, I had he was doing some of my draft analysis when I was doing a draft show. And now I want to find his name. Now I'm like, wait a minute, what's his name? It's a long name. Oh man, maybe I can find out what school he's at. Maybe to help you out. He's he projected to be in the second round, but I don't think he's going to sit there. I think is it pronounced Savanea? Is that how it's pronounced?
What position he's in?
He's a interior lineman tackle out of Arizona, 6'5", 330.
Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember him? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We'll just say Jonah.
I think his name is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of those guys
Definitely
that might end up. I'm gonna go with Jonah Sarab or something like that. I don't know what to do with that. But I think he might go to the crown. Matter of fact, maybe Donovan Jackson too. Because a lot of teams need guard play, and some of it ain't working out. So these guys might be desperate to grab these guys. But we'll see what happens though. But I'm excited about this, man. Want to hear you guys' thoughts on the ideas for the draft and stuff leading into it. But great show tonight, man. Thanks for all the comments out there. Having fun with this and jumping here with your guys' knowledge and your insights. Always appreciate it. Thanks again for everything. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
Just thanks for having me on.
I was right. See, 3 fine, upstanding gentlemen who are at the top of their game, and I was just trying not to drag you guys down, and I appreciate y'all.
Had it to it.
Top corner, roll tide.
Jay likes that top corner. It's different up there. Doesn't the air feel a little bit better too up there too? It's like you have drinks, they taste a little bit better. It's just the top corner, man. It's where it's at.
Yeah. Pepsi just went down smoother.
The
new life.
A little extra bubbles.
Yep.
I'm like, so I'm feeling like jealous. I'm like, my drinks don't taste as
You're
nice.
not in the top right corner, man. The top right corner is where it's
Yeah,
at.
you've always been in the top corner, though. You see this for me. This is the move up.
Yeah,
but my drinks is not tasting like you guys make it sound real euphoric. Mine don't taste like that. Mine just tastes
This is Jefferson's for me. I'm moving on up.
Yeah, for me, like my soda's flat now. It's weird. One of my lights just went out. It's so weird.
Well,
You're amongst the peasants down here now.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Thank you guys for this. This has been fun as always. Let's do it again soon, all right?
Yes, sir.